Hi, Carol Allen here, just doing a quick DIY video about tomorrow's eclipse. And I wanted to do this because, frankly, I'm exhausted. Are you guys exhausted? It's intense right now. We're between eclipses right now. We're in eclipse season, this is called. And it's always kind of a heightened, crazy time, but this one's especially heightened and crazy because there's also a lot of retrogrades right now. Mars is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Mercury went retrograde today in the oh-so-emotional sign of Cancer, and it's opposite Mars in the oh-so-intense sign of Capricorn. So Mars and Mercury are doing a little do-si-do, or a little street fighting, you could say. Then Neptune's retrograde, Uranus is retrograde, Pluto's retrograde. Rahu and Ketu are always retrograde. So a lot of stuff is getting stirred up for everybody, a lot. Now you could say, oh, but it's always like that. Yeah, for some of us, but there are times when collectively all of us are kind of on our last nerve, right? And where life is sort of extra heightened. And this is one of those times, for sure. And I don't know about you, but in the last few weeks, every day I'm getting news of a death, news of an illness, news of a wedding, news of a baby, like everything's either the best news possible or the worst news possible. And it's like whiplash, whiplash, whiplash. So I was going to sit down and write about this, and I was like, you know what? I actually can't. I gotta take a break. I gotta take a chill pill. And I want to write about something fun. And this is a little dense and heady and serious, but I do have to share about it. So I just thought I would cheat, do a DIY video. I'm on a 6-day-old blow dry. The lighting's bad. I'm shaking the phone. I'm on a mic, which looks very, cheesy and low tech, 'cause it is. But oh well. I don't care. I just want to connect with you. And here's why I really want to connect with you. And here's the message I really want to get out. The thing that really matters in eclipses, really matters most of all. And I've written about eclipses until my hair has fallen out. So you can look at other articles I've written about them. You can go back to old newsletters I've written about them. Ancient peoples didn't like eclipses. So I have a hard time getting sort of lofty and charming about eclipses. I always see them as a warning, and I always see them as a time for us to go really, really deep, but not in an easy way. Usually we're forced to, and usually it's kind of painful. So if you're having a hard time right now, don't judge yourself for it. Don't beat yourself up for it. Get more self-care. This eclipse is tough. It's in Capricorn, and now this is according to Vedic Astrology, which the calculations are different, okay? But it's in the sign of Capricorn. It's exactly between the South Node and Mars. It's right on top of the South Node and Mars. Now the South Node we call Ketu. This is an eclipse point itself, okay? It's not a planet. I know these things, don't worry. I'm not thinking it's a planet. You can't find it with your telescope, but this is a very, 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 very sensitive, intense, impatient combination. And today, Mercury went retrograde in Cancer across the zodiac from Mars with the Sun and with Rahu, the North Node. That's a really nasty stack up. I'm sorry to tell you, that is really aggravating, intense. Mercury's like our communication, our feeling, our intellect, how we think about things. The moon, I misspoke there, the moon is our feelings, the moon is our psychology, the moon is our emotions. You get them all lined up and all interacting with the most malefic influences, right? Mars, Rahu, Ketu, Mars exalted in a Saturn sign. This is too much. This is too much. This is why everything's so intense. This is why the world is teetering on war. This is why we're actually in trade wars and information wars and, covert secret, other wars that I don't need to tell you about. Just turn on the news. But I care more about what's going on in the personal realm. Like, how are you individually? How are your relationships? How are you connecting or disconnecting with others? Because when I look at eclipses, what I care about, yes, I care about what I just explained, what's going on with the planets around the thing being eclipsed, whether it's the sun or the moon. Huge theme to look at. What sign is the eclipse in, which we're going to get to. But I also really care about what Vedic sign, what smaller sign within the larger Greek sign is the eclipse happening in. It's called a nakshatra. Nakshatras are the first thing written about in Vedic astrology, and they are incredible. They are incredible. They are so nuanced, so subtle, so rich, so deep. Your signs absolutely imbue you with who you are and why you're into what you're into. And your Vedic signs are a whole like 75 layers deeper than that. And so you really, really, really want to check out your Vedic signs. And here's the thing about this eclipse. This eclipse is in Capricorn, which I just said. It's in a Vedic sign called Shravana. Shravana is all about connection. It's all about connection. It's in the sign of Capricorn, which is all about work, career. It's the 10th sign. It's the 10th house. Now, the 10th sign and the 10th house has to do with governments. Connection, you would think would be a good thing. Now, this is a really long eclipse. It's 4 hours. Almost the entire world is going to see this eclipse, except for Canada and the US, thank goodness, right? But the longer an eclipse lasts, the longer the effects of it are felt for months afterwards. The more the world sees an eclipse, the more of the world is really impacted by it. And I'm so sorry. Eclipses are usually more negative than positive. They're usually a sign that things need to be looked at and gone into in a deeper way and reevaluated, and difficult stuff is going to probably come forward around the thing the eclipse is portending, right? We're talking about. So Shravana is all about connection, but an eclipse is a block. It's a blocking of the light in the theme of connection. Now, what does that mean? It means disconnection. It means disconnection. And this eclipse is going to be seen all over the world. So tension, and it's with Mars, the planet of war. It's exalted. What does this mean? It means tensions are going to get greater. Disconnections are going to increase. Taking sides, nationalism, all this stuff's going to get deeper and more cacophonous. And it's going to build as opposed to start dissipating, I'm afraid. And so now that is not my area. I'm not a political astrologer. I don't get into markets. I don't usually talk about countries. But I always look at, okay, this is what the macro means. And that means on the micro, you know, peace begins with me, right? Peace begins with me. Peace begins with you. What can you do to avoid disconnection right now? We're all so sensitive right now with Mercury retrograde, with Rahu, and in Cancer, and Mars on top of the moon with Ketu in Capricorn opposite. I mean, that, you guys, this is like the recipe for like the biggest fighting, the most like tension, the least patience. So I don't mean to be a bummer today, okay? I don't mean to be a bummer. I'm trying to bring love. I'm trying to spread love. Let me show you a cat. Oh, crap. Oh, here's Duchess. She wants to send you her love, right? I don't mean to be a bummer. And you know, there's always, this is like kind of the darkness before the storm, the light, right? I said it wrong. It's the darkness before the light, not before the storm, okay? This is the wake-up call. This is the divine tap on the shoulder before it becomes the kick in the ass, okay? So take it that way. Take it that way. And I want everyone to breathe. I want everyone to ramp up your self-care. Please, please, please. This is not time to have big altercations. This is not time to have that huge heart-to-heart. This is a great time to be journaling, realizing things, talking to friends, getting more therapy. I had the biggest cry I've had in decades a couple of days ago. And I'm so glad. It's like I've been carrying around a beach ball or pushing it down, pushing it down, pushing it down. I got that analogy from the late, great Debbie Ford. And it's so right? It's like we try so hard and then they come flying up and they break our nose, okay? So we have to let that out. We have to acknowledge things. We have to face stuff. We have to feel stuff. And it was good for me. And so if you need to have a big cry, if you need to write somebody a screw you letter, but not mail it, right? If you need to, really take a hard look at things and really take a big inventory of what should you change right now. And if you don't, how will it create disconnection? How will it create disconnection from yourself, from your success, from your relationships, from your loved ones? How can you ramp up your self-care, pause and not buy into all the triggered feelings we're all having under this energy? And how can you actually lean into the good news that there is? Because there is some. Here's the good news. In the US chart, exactly when the eclipse starts, the planet taking center stage is Venus. Thank God. Okay, so that means that's good for diplomacy, I will tell you. It's also, Venus is able to bring a little joy to all this stuff. I'm trying to come up with something else good to say. Jupiter retrograde is no longer retrograde. That's what I want to say. Jupiter was. It's like the only planet now that's not. Okay, so Jupiter's not and Venus is not. So the two most benefic good guy planets are marching in a forward direction. They're not turning and running the other way. They're marching forward. This can help us realize good stuff. This can help us put forward good mojo. This can help us. And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of kicked in when Jupiter went direct again. It had been retrograde for months. It just went direct in the last couple of weeks. And I felt like a shift in motivation, in ambition, in inspiration. I got some really great new ideas that I'm executing that are going really well. And so there is some light in all this like darkness. And oh, by the way, it's a blood moon tomorrow too, which just means the Earth's atmosphere are going to make the moon look red. Okay. Doesn't mean like anything evil or demonic, or doesn't portend the end of the world, which people have written books about. That's all a bunch of hogwash. Okay, that's just fear talking, which is disconnection. Okay, disconnection from your faith, disconnection from feeling, a part of something that's holding you and carrying you and supporting you. If you don't have that, get that. I'm telling you. But so what do we do? We breathe. We try to ride out the next couple of weeks. Let's get the sun out of the sign of Cancer. Okay. That's like mid-August, right? Mid-August, we can all start, I think, feeling a little bit better. But I think the next 3 weeks, we're all kind of still on our last nerve. It's starting to dissipate because the worst energy is always as an eclipse is building. And it's always extra intense between eclipses. But this is an intense time. This is a time when you could say things you can't take back. You could break up with people and then be sorry. You could take action that you regret. And so really think, really pause, really give everyone extra benefit of the doubt right now, because we're all feeling this, all of us. Some of us more than others, but all of us are feeling this on a world level, on an individual level. I don't care if you're young, old, rich, poor. I don't care who you are, you're feeling it. So let's just smile at each other. Let's just call our moms if you can. I wish I could. Let's just hug a cat. And let's just know, as ever, this too shall pass. And we're going to look back and go, you know what? That woke me up. That got me going. That woke the world up. That kicked us all in the butt in a good way. And choose to respond well to this. Choose to support yourself beautifully through this. And it's all going to be okay. It really is. It's all going to be okay. It's always going to be okay, right? It's just not always fun. So lay low this weekend, everybody. Stay cool. Stay dry. Apparently there's flooding going on the East Coast, and it's baking on the West Coast. I can attest. I turned off my AC so I can make this for you. And Woo! I got to turn it back on. But anyway, I love you. I'm here for you. And there will be another clip soon because there always is. Okay. I hope this has been helpful. Take care.